This is Change Your Mindset Podcast, the podcast that helps change your life by helping change the mindset of the 99% into the 1% mindset. Here's your host, Adrian Gomez.
Welcome back to another podcast episode of Change Your Mindset. As always, I'm your host, Adrian Gomez. So this is a new concept for me that I haven't heard of called Funemployment. Apparently the term has been around since 2007 to 2008. That's when it started. But this is the first time hearing of it. And it's very interesting what fun employment is. So I'm going to read you a little article by Investopedia about fun employment. So, what is fun employment? The term fun employment refers to a period of time when individuals decide to enjoy the free time that comes with being unemployed. The slang term fun employment is used to describe those who lost their jobs and choose to use their newfound freedom to pursue leisure activities such as traveling, going to the beach, and being physically active until they find a new job. And because this is a made-up term for being unemployed, there are no fun employed rules to follow, other than the rules that apply for claiming unemployment benefits. So some key takeaways are: fun employment is a period of time when individuals decide to enjoy the free time that comes with being unemployed until they find a new job. The term was coined during the Great Recession when millions of workers lost their jobs. It may be difficult to enjoy being unemployed if you have a family to support or heavy debt like student loans. People who are unemployed tend to participate in leisure activities such as traveling, volunteering, or socializing. The unemployed don't worry about being jobless, with most relying heavily on savings to live, which is terrible. So the article goes on, understanding funemployment. Funemployment is a relatively new term that was developed following the financial crisis. It is a compound word made up of terms fun and unemployment. As such, it's a period of unemployment people use to have fun. It describes the situation of someone who doesn't have a job and still enjoys their time off. People who become funemployed may do so by choice or may decide to take part in funemployment when they are suddenly laid off or fired from their jobs. People who describe their joblessness as funemployment are typically younger individuals with fewer financial responsibilities. They may also be people with enough accumulated savings to enjoy the extra time with their unemployment affords them. Funemployed people often point out that finding a new job can be a long and stressful process, especially during tough economic times. They opt to take advantage of the chance to do things they normally wouldn't be able to do if they were employed. For instance, they may partake in a leisure activities such as traveling, working out, socializing, and just having a good time. Some may decide to do meaningful unpaid work such as volunteering in their community. And the article talks about history of unemployment. This term was coined during the Great Recession between 2007 and 2009, when approximately 8.8 million U.S. workers filed for unemployment. The slang term stuck, and some individuals may opt to take a period of funemployment to plot their next career move or to take a break from working to enjoy other aspects of life. The article goes on, but I'm going to stop it there. So I'm going to switch to another article by Insider about someone who took fun employments. So the title is No Job, No Problem. For some, a fun employment summer after quitting sounds like a perfect plan. Some people in between jobs are embracing what's known as fun employment. It's a term that describes unemployment as liberating and empowering, rather than scary. In an opinion piece, NYU professor Susie Welch said she was unsure if it's brilliant or bonkers. So the article goes, Delia Pena, who was laid off from her data entry job in late March, has many things she wants to accomplish this summer. a road trip across the South with her teenage niece, finishing the epicsy collage she's been working on for weeks, wrapping up the second season of the podcast she hosts, and lots of yoga. Conspicuously missing from those plans, looking for a new full-time job. Quote, I want to take a beat and decide how I'm going to live my life. End quote. Pena, 37, told Insider. Quote, I'm entitled to have some fun. It doesn't need to be a rat race. End quote. Pena, who makes money delivering for DoorDash and ghostwriting blogs, said she's unfazed by recent economic uncertainty. Quote, I'm not concerned about getting a job later. I'm pretty resourceful. End quote. Pena is embracing what's known as Funemployment, a term that describes joblessness as liberating and empowering. Rather than depressing and scary, instead of worrying about finding a new gig as fast as possible, the Funemployed enjoy their time off by taking trips, spending time with loved ones, and rekindling their creativity. The label has been part of the vernacular for years, but TikTok and Instagram have a way of recycling old ideas and making them feel new again. And at a time when Gen Z's approach to work-life balance, with the emphasis on life, is in the air, certain talking heads can't help but weigh in. In a recent Wall Street Journal, Susie Welch, the NYU professor, said she was unsure whether Funemployment was brilliant or bonkers. Randall Peterson, a professor of organizational behavior of London Business School, told Insider that taking an extended period between jobs as a time for reflection is healthy, as long as you're not burning through cash. The pandemic changed the way many people think about work and helped clarify what they want out of their lives, he said. We've long had this Protestant work ethic where work is its own virtue and hard work is part and parcel to a well-lived life, he said. But the pandemic drove home that what's important in life is relationships. Many people are realizing that work is not where they find the most meaning. So the article goes on, when in between jobs, recreation calls. More than 3 years into a pandemic that shifted people's priorities about work and life, surveys suggest that many people feel both burned out at work and restless in their jobs. So when an opportunity for time off presents itself, some are seizing the chance. Roughly 28% of recently laid off workers said they plan to take some form of break before starting their next job, according to a January 2023 survey of more than 2,000 U.S. adults who'd lost their jobs in the second half of 2022, conducted by ZipRecruiter. Fresh figures from the Labor Department suggest that they're not crazy for doing so, while the so-called Great Resignation, the unprecedented period in which workers quit for new, often higher-paying jobs, might be on its way out. The employment market overall looks strong. Layoffs remain low, and there are roughly 1.8 open jobs for every unemployed worker. Because resume gaps no longer hold the same stigma and people can make extra cash doing gig work, a period of unemployment sounds just about perfect for some, said Julia Polak, the chief economist at ZipRecruiter. People now have more freedom to hop in and out of the labor market, she told Insider. To be clear, not everyone is so lucky. Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and the vast majority of people who lose their jobs look for a new one right away, noted Polak. But many of those who have a bit of leftover pandemic savings and perhaps some severance are taking their sweet time. Rand Taylor, 35, enjoyed her summer of unemployment last year after being laid off from her corporate marketing job. Living off her severance and savings, she has health insurance through her spouse. She learned to bake a perfect spaghetti, I don't know how to say that, started a vegetable garden, wrote a novel, and backpacked California's Trans-Catalina Trail. Many of the older hikers she encountered told her that they wished they'd done the trek when they were younger, fitter, and had better knees, but they could never fit in around work. Their comments affirmed that I wasn't wasting my time, she told Insider. Up until that point, I'd spent my whole life hustling in my career. Ren started applying for jobs last fall, just as her self-published novel began earning some real money. During job interviews, she said, that all she could think about was the freedom she'd lose by going back to a traditional job. So she made the decision to become a full-time writer. After a while, my corporate career didn't feel like the shiny, sparkly dream it was presented as, she said. It feels weird to say, but all of the income I earn now is through writing novels. And I absolutely still work 40 hours a week. And that's the end of the article. So, what's my opinion on Funemployment? For the majority of people, it's terrible advice. It's extremely terrible financial advice. For most people, Funemployment, you're laid off. You're doing whatever you want because you no longer have a job. But the issue with this is you're burning through cash. You're burning through your savings. You're burning through everything. Everything you work hard for, you're burning through it, which is a terrible financial decision. Because especially during these times, economic times, job unemployments are going up. As I previously said in previous podcasts, this is not the time to do fun employment. We do not know what's going to happen economically in the future. And for you to blow through your savings and burn through your cash is outrageous. And for those people that do whatever they want because they couldn't when they had a job, once they burn through all their cash, they're going to look for another job. And they're going to repeat that same cycle over and over and over again. And that just puts them back into the rat race for working for money, working for somebody else. And that's terrible advice. Instead of blowing that money on savings to do fun employment, people could invest that money to make them more money, or save that money for potential bad economic times that are more likely going to happen. This fun employment just shows that people are not financially educated, which I already talked about on this channel. Financial education is very important, and for hearing from some of these people, they're obviously not financially educated. Yes, work-life balance would be nice, but that's not reality. We don't live in a fairy tale. That's not how the world works. Yeah, you can't do whatever you want because you have a job, but that job provides you money for you can live and survive and have a life. Unless you want to go into the wilderness and not worry about any of this and survive off the land. And by all means, but majority of people cannot do that. But I would be okay with the concept, what happened with the last lady at the end. She quit her job. She found something alternative, which was writing novels, that eventually led her to be able to quit her job and to write novels for a living and work for herself and make her own money. So if someone would do something like that, I would be okay with it. I'm okay with someone quitting their job, not just doing this fun employment and go burning all your cash, but to quit and figure out a way that you can work for yourself to make you more money and to get out of the rat race. Now, obviously, people need to financially educate themselves to do this. I'm okay with that because that gets you out the rat race, stops you from working for everyone else, and you get your freedom back. But people don't realize what they're doing with fun employment. They're getting their freedom back for a small amount, and then they go back to a job and lose their freedom again. But if they change their mindset and figure a way to either work for themselves or invest money, they can have that freedom for the rest of their lives. But they don't figure that out. This is why I talk about so much. People think short term, they don't think long term. And usually the people that are not financially educated think short term. People who are financially educated think long term. And that's the difference. And this article clearly tells the difference between the two types of people. For the younger generations that don't want to work and want to have fun employment and burn through their cash, those people are going to struggle for the rest of their lives. And they're never going to have financial freedom and to be able to do whatever they want. Unless they do this fun employment, which I think is just an excuse to get out of your job and live your life just for a little bit. Like I said, That's terrible financial advice. But that's just me. What you do with your life, what you do with your money is up to you. If you want to be like everybody else and do Funemployment and enjoy your summer during potentially very economic bad times, by all means. Hopefully those people can end up finding jobs, or they are screwed. And most of these young people do not have financial responsibilities. They don't have any kids, maybe. They don't have to pay rent, a car, maybe. They still live with their parents. So to them, it's not a problem. For people that have responsibilities, that are adults, Funemployment isn't terrible advice. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's up to you. But if you really want to get ahead in life, you have to change your mindset to change your life. That's the only way. It's your choice. That's going to wrap it for this podcast. I appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully, what you think of Funemployment is negative. Unless you're trying to find an alternative to replace your job, then by all means. But like I said, what you decide is up to you. But I appreciate you guys listening to this podcast. As always, thank you for taking your time out of your busy day. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Patron member Blade262, for being a Patron member and financially supporting this podcast. I appreciate it. It helps so much. And if you want to be a Patreon member, the link is in the description below. Thank you guys again. And please comment, subscribe, share this podcast with others. It does help this podcast to get the message out and help others in need. So thank you guys again. I wish you the best. And as always, change your mindset to change your life. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Change Your Mindset podcast. Be sure to tune in every week for a new episode. As always, change your mindset to change your life.